Hello, good evening everyone. It's Gosia Scarrott here, visibility coach for you. Yes, this is the time, 9 p.m. We start this amazing, powerful live, which will be so full of, value and important topic about how to step into visibility in your business and step into the arena, be seen, connect with your audience, make them love you, make them buy from you, but most importantly, how to get to this mindset, because as you know, mindset is the 80% of success. So that's what we will be talking today with Steve Carr, the confidence coach, and the creator and owner of amazing Mind Canyon group with over 10,000 members. How amazing is that? And what's more even amazing, he has got amazing, powerful story, right? Let me invite him to this live. So please bear with me. I'm just inviting actually few people. So yeah. So just bear with me as I am inviting. Okay, Steve, I will invite you if I can. Just bear with me. So hopefully you can hop on. Hello. I think you need to turn the camera the other way around because you're upside down now.
Yes, let me.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Right there. Hey, how are you?
Hello, Steve. How are you today?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Right, let me just, so sorry about this. Technical difficulties tonight, but you know what? We are going to go with it. Let's see what happens. And good evening. Thank you for inviting me along.
Yes, I'm so excited, Steve, because, we have met just like a while ago, but really, I really admire what you do and, what your values and what kind of tribe you've built and, all your story is so powerful. But yes, so everyone, thank you so much for joining. And Steve, yes, just can you tell us a little bit about what you are doing, why you are doing what you are doing, because that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my word, where to start?
Yeah.
Well, all of this started for me many years ago. So I'll let you know who I am. So my name is Steve Carr, and I am the director stroke creator of Mind Canyon Positive Mental Health. So that is a group on Facebook, and it's got over 10,700 people now following this one group. And it all started for me back in 1991 when I started this group, and it was on a walk from Land's End to John O'Groats. So that was the very first place that I started Mind Canyon. Also, I've moved on to date, and so up to date now, I've created my own business called Steve Carr Confidence Coaching. So I'm now a coach as well, and a life coach and mentor.
Yes, exactly. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for this. And Steve, I invited you because I really wanted to chat about something that I consider extremely important, something where I always say everything starts there and everything ends there. For me, it is self-love, and actually finally finding this like approval within. I found transformational in my life, and I just wanted to chat with you about what you think and how this actually, really refer to visibility in business, which is something that I think many entrepreneurs who are watching us right now can struggle with. And I just would like to chat why we struggle with this, what's behind this, what's the key to unlock actually our potential, and the whole, I call it science of being you, because I think there is science to it in terms of how to overcome all of it. So can you just tell us a little bit about like your story because I know you have powerful story, but in the context of how you actually have like discovered this self-worth in the end and felt visible just for yourself, for who you are in your own eyes, because I believe, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Well, as you are aware, I've got a very powerful
Yeah.
story, and my story begins back when I was very, very small. So I grew up on a council estate in Pinehurst, which is in my hometown of Swindon. I come from a very, very poor background. So my parents, my father was the only one that would go out to work, whilst my mother would stay at home and look after three children. So I'm one of three children. I'm the middle child. Now, growing up, like I say, it was very hard times. People being mugged on our estate, people being stabbed, people being shot. It was very, very rough times. And I remember growing up thinking, is this what life is all about? Is it growing up on this place of, where everyone was kind of desperate? And at the time, the education that my parents gave me unfortunately shaped my life. Now,
Yeah.
my parents were only doing the best they could and what they were given, and they were installing that into me, my brother, and to my sister. So I'm a product of somebody else's education. Now, I think the best times in my childhood were when it was a Sunday, because I knew that on the Saturday my parents would go shopping and they'd get this roast dinner, and I know that on the Sunday I'd have a really, really great dinner.
Yeah.
Because all the rest of the week we were just given crap food.
Right.
We were given food that, it was beans on toast. If we were lucky, things were really, really that bad.
Yeah.
I say that bad for me, they were bad for my
Yeah.
parents. So I'm 41 years of age. And so back then it was in the 70s, the late 70s and early 80s, when money was very, very scarce.
Yeah.
So again, like I say, on a Sunday when we'd have these roast dinners, they were the best things to us whilst we were growing up, because we knew going to school on the Monday that we'd get great sandwiches and great food. But then on the Tuesday, it would go back to bread and butter. Literally, we didn't have anything within our sandwiches. That's how bad
Yeah.
life was for us. Now, this was all the way up until I was 15 years old. Now, at 15, there was one particular day that shaped and changed the rest of my life, and that was Friday, the 13th of September, 1990.
That's amazing. You remember the date, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But the reason why I remember this date specifically is because on that particular morning, my brother said to me, he was a year older than me. My brother said to me, Steve, would you like to come and meet my new girlfriend? And I said, God, no. Why would I want to do that? And the reason why I said that is because we were complete polar opposites. So my brother was into heavy metal, I was into rave music. Now, the two kind of clash. I thought he was weird, he thought I was weird. So we just did our own thing. That was the very last time I was to see my brother.
Right.
Unfortunately, that night, two cars were racing along a notoriously long stretch of road in Swindon. One car hit the back of the other, and there was 5 children playing on a grass verge.
Mm.
One car hit the back of the other. One car came off the road, rolled over the bench, and killed all 5 children.
Oh my God. Mm.
My brother was involved in that car accident.
Mm.
And it was from here, this is where my trauma started to begin. So not only had I gone through this traumatic time as a child, coming from a very broken home, it was then at this point that shaped the rest of my life. Because it was at that point that my father said, Steve, we don't actually need to take you to counselling, I'll look after you. And at the time, I didn't take it on board what was happening. So for me, it was just normal. Okay, we don't have counselling, we just look after each other. So I tried to connect with my family, tried to connect with my mother and my father and my sister, but unfortunately they were dealing with their own trauma at the time. And it tore my family apart. It tore the family apart. So at the age of 16, my father said to me, Steve, I think you need to go and make your way in the world. I didn't know what to do. I was traumatized. What was I to do? At 16 years old, I was shown that I was worthless as a child. I thought my middle name was shut up and sit down.
Mm.
It was
oh God.
On a daily basis, we were lucky if we were not hit. We were lucky if we were not beaten. And the psychological damage that it did to all of us children, I knew that it wasn't right. But this, from there on in, led me to a life of drink and drugs.
Right.
I couldn't deal with the trauma. I couldn't deal with what was going on. So I thought the easiest way to deal with it is just mask all the trauma. And this is what people do, and I'm finding this an awful lot nowadays. The easiest way not to deal with anything is don't deal with it. So we'll mask it, and we'll mask that with things like alcohol. We'll mask it with things like chocolate. We'll mask it with it's an addiction.
Yeah, I think someone put this term, we numb vulnerability. We live in this kind of era where there've never been as many like such a high percentage of like overweight people with like, you know, like drinking problems and all sort of stuff, because this is a way out from the actual reality, from yourself. It's just where it's like numbing the actual vulnerability, and exactly that's what you just said.
And it is just a numbing technique. Sorry, I'm just moving this camera about a bit. It's a numbing technique. So because people don't know how to deal with trauma, the easiest way to deal with trauma, don't deal with it and mask it. So from the age of 16, I left home. My parents got divorced, and I hadn't seen my sister or my father up until the age of 30. So in that space in between, I started to take an awful lot more drugs. I started to go out partying. I started to think that I was finding me, when in fact I wasn't. I was running away from the truth. I was running away from what I needed to deal with. And unfortunately, that would shape the rest of my life. That from that one event, I would completely shut myself off, because I didn't want to approach this scary subject, because nobody knew how to deal with it. So why should I do it?
Is there any specific story? As you know, we kind of find a way out because, well, there is certain like self-talk, or we just say something to ourselves, the story. So like now from the time perspective, what was the story at the time that you were saying to yourself that you were acting upon? Like what?
Well, the story at the time was, it's okay, I can deal with me, when I was saying it in the back of my mind, I don't need anybody else. It's okay.
Right.
I'm okay because I'm alive, and you know what? I'm doing this on my own. I'm strong enough. I'm tough enough. I'm this strong person, strong-willed. I don't want anybody else in my life trying to help me. And what I didn't realize is I was alienating myself.
Yeah.
I was completely becoming a recluse. So what I did was I became a recluse. I just started doing more and more drugs, and that masked the issue. So what I was finding is I was going deeper and deeper into myself, becoming this recluse, becoming this person that was completely closed off, and becoming this angry person that could take on the world.
Yeah. So what happened? What was this pivotal moment? What happened that made you, like, you know, change it? Change it basically, so it actually empowers you in the end rather than.
Okay, so there's more to the story. So at 30 years of age, what I did then was, shall I put this light on? Bear with me.
Yeah, sure. Go for it. Yeah.
Hey, there we go. That's better. Okay, so yes, at 30 years of age, I got back in touch with my father, and I said to him, Dad, I'd really like to come home and save for a house. So he said, sorry about this with the camera. He said, yes, son, you can do that. So I went home, saved for my house, and within 1 year, I bought my house. So the great news is I got back in touch with my dad. He let me come home. But after that year, we left it where it was, because I still got these issues and I still didn't know how to deal with them. So it was a surface level relationship. We never got to the bottom of what actually happened because we were too scared to ask. So the easiest thing was, don't deal with it. Don't deal with all the trauma. And for years and years and years, I'd carried that trauma, still was carrying it until the age of 30. But at 30, what I decided to do was buy my own house. And it was great because I managed to get a job. So I was a functioning addict, drug addict. So I was taking all these drugs whilst working. So that you can imagine the stress and the pressure of what's going on inside my mind. And I didn't even realize it. I was this really angry person whilst working.
What made you, so basically what I am very much interested in, because obviously I believe your story have good ending, has a good ending, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
what I'm very much interested about always, because you are the confidence coach, and what led you there? Why confidence? What is confidence, Steve, for you?
Confidence is having that ability in yourself to believe not just in yourself, but in somebody and a purpose. That wrapped up is confidence. So confidence, unfortunately, is not just a one size fits all kind of hat or t-shirt. Confidence is very specific. So confidence is, let's say you are amazing at what you do because you look good. So your confidence is within looking good. Okay. So that's a specific area of your life. Now, let's say if you went to the gym and wanted to become confident in your ability to exercise. You have to look at the specifics and what it is you want to be confident in. Now, imagine being able to be confident in all aspects of your life. This is where I got to, and this is how I got to being confident in all aspects of my life and starting a company with just my mobile phone. I had no money, no bank account. I opened this with pure bloody willpower. And this is how I did it. Going to go back. We're stepping back a bit now. So back into my life when I was doing the drugs. At 30 years of age, I saved up for my first house, £15,000. Great. I had that for a deposit. Fantastic. Yeah. Put it down into my first house. I had a great car, great girlfriend, great job. The house was amazing. I had it all.
Wow.
Or so I thought. I was out partying one night and somebody said to me, Steve, how would you like to try this? Not knowing what this meant or what he meant, it was actually cocaine.
All right.
I tried cocaine at 30 years of age. I instantly become addicted to cocaine. I started with 1 gram every Saturday night and then progressed it into 1 gram every day of the week.
Wow. Every
day of the week until I formed a habit that I could no longer control. I formed a habit where it was costing me £100 per day, but I was still functioning.
Wow.
So I was going to work and getting high when I was coming home. I alienated all of my friends. Yeah. I mean, everyone. I alienated my parents. I alienated my mum, my dad, my sister. I alienated every single one of my friends until I was sat in my bedroom every single night just taking cocaine on my own. And it hurt. And it hurt a lot because I couldn't tell anyone. I had this dirty little secret. But then it progressively got worse. I thought I can't deal with work and I can't cope. So what I did from there on in was I stopped working. I have figured out how much equity I could take out of my house comfortably, and I did that, and I took £20,000 equity out of my house. By taking that £20,000 equity out of my house, it stopped me from working, and then I spent the whole lot on cocaine. Every single penny. I remember a time when I was sat in my house and I'd sold everything in it, and I was sleeping at night in a sleeping bag in my own house.
Wow.
I got rid of all the blinds. I had to sell them because I couldn't afford anything. All I was interested in was my next fix. Got rid of the blinds, got rid of the curtains. There was notice in my window that said your house is being repossessed, and I ignored it, and the house got repossessed.
Oh my God.
The house got repossessed, and I was made homeless.
Wow.
So I'd lost everything.
Wow.
Literally everything. All I had on me was a shirt on my back, a pair of trousers, and I was made homeless.
Oh my.
Luckily enough, a friend of mine put me up for a couple of nights. He put me up for a couple of nights and I was sofa surfing. Now, at this time, I managed to secure myself another job. How? Because I completely lied. I completely lied to get into this next job because I had to. I had to lie to get into a job. I was a complete and utter mess. How on earth I got another job, I do not know. But I was still doing this to the point where it got to the point where I thought, I need to come off of these drugs. I need to come off it. So the good news I'm about to tell you is I came off of cocaine. However, I went on to something much worse, and it was called MCAT, cat.
Oh my God.
And I formed another habit, £100 a day habit with this. So not only did I form that habit, I was still doing 50, 60 hours a week with work. And then the inevitable happened. I had a breakdown. It was at this point I had a breakdown. I had a nervous breakdown. Whatever happened in me at this point, I snapped. The last time I remember doing drugs, I did 27 grams of cat, half a gram of cocaine, half a bottle of whiskey, and I took something called spice, which was a legal high at the time. And I slipped in and out of unconsciousness for 8 hours. I was laid on my bed, and all I remember seeing is it was like a black tunnel, and voices either side of me going, Steve, come into the light, come into this light. And I knew if I'd stepped into that light, gone into that light, I would be dead. And this is the point that it saved me. This is the point where I said, I've had enough. I need to stop. I need to quit. God, please help me. If you help me, I'll pray to you every single day. Just help me get through this. That day after, I went to the doctors and I asked for help and said, I've screwed up. I'm a cocaine addict. Can you imagine what you would have to do to go to the doctors to say, I am a cocaine addict? I'm not going to lie, I absolutely shit myself when I walked in there because I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know what was next. And this is what blocks people, because they don't know what comes next. And I'm going to come back onto that in a moment about fear, because it's all in your head. So what I started to do was I started to figure out what was going on in my brain. How did it work? Why did it work this specific way? What was holding me back? Why was I telling myself that I couldn't do it? Why was I telling myself that my life was worthless? And then it got me. And then I realized what it was. It was these specific emotional events from when I was younger that shaped my life. So it was the indoctrination from my parents, their education, that shaped my life. So whilst I'm doing this counseling, I come up with this really crazy idea. Excuse me. And this crazy idea was to walk from one end of our country to the other. So walk from Land's End to John O'Groats to raise awareness for mental health and homelessness. And who's the better person to do that than somebody who was going through their own mental health issue and somebody that was homeless?
Yes, absolutely. But what is interesting for me that, you know, people go through amazing stories. People go through many things in life. Every single person has good story. But not everyone, okay, is going to set up like amazing event, amazing campaign. Not everyone who may have similar problems in the past and stuff, overcome it and then actually go for it in terms of like, you setting up like campaign like this, that you go from one end to another, and mental health. You step into very empowered version of you, because what you actually are doing, you're saying, I'm fine, I'm owning my story, that's part of me and I am proud of it, or this is something that can change other people's lives, empower them and stuff. And I've noticed that very often people who are not visible out there, like for example business owners, they have powerful messages. Everyone has gone through some sort of crap in childhood or whatever, like definitely 100%. But not everyone wants to look back, analyze what happens, those emotions that you were analyzing, like you wanted to find out. Well, never mind, we are both analytical people. We agree on that. So yes,
absolutely.
Yes, but not everyone is just like literally willing to look back, to revisit quite emotional, painful areas, okay, and then actually use it to empower you and actually help people with it. So so I just like wonder what made you actually take this step, because I think that's quite bold that you actually go for such a challenge for yourself. That's interesting for me. What made you actually do it?
Well, what made me do it was I hadn't seen anything like it done before, and I thought there's so many people that deal with mental health issues but deal with it on their own.
Yes.
And they then don't go and tell people about it because there's this whole stigma around mental health that nobody wants to deal with. It is such a taboo subject.
Yeah.
But it's only a taboo subject to the people that don't understand it. So the people that understand the subject are actually okay with the subject. So it's people that feel uncomfortable that don't understand it. So I thought, why don't I go and educate people? But the only way that I could educate people was by educating myself with it. So it was my willingness to learn. So quite like you say, and a lot of people get stuck with this. They're stuck with, how do I overcome this barrier? Why am I not a success? Why is it that I can't project myself even further? Why is it I can't make myself successful? It's because we hold back. We hold back, and people don't give 100%. They're holding back on something because there's an issue blocking them from going forwards. And it is all in the mind. Everything that is holding you back is in your mind. So these barriers, I call them bullshit barriers, if I'm honest, because people they put these bullshit barriers in place that mean nothing. And it's like, oh no, well, I can't go further forward because look what they're doing, or look what they're doing, or our fear of being judged.
Yes.
And you know what? It's all an absolute load of rubbish.
Yes, what I've noticed, because as we are talking about visibility, that's for me like huge thing, because visibility and being, I call it, out there in the arena, yeah, this is the very specific place, you know, when you are just like you are doing it now, sharing your very personal story and sharing this somehow with confidence, in a good, you know, in a good way, that you have almost like faced the past, you just like accepted, you know, this as something that in the end is serving you rather than was at any point like really working against you. But what I notice amongst entrepreneurs, that there is not in many entrepreneurs, I will be very honest, that I hear that they share their personal stories. So they are showing something beyond, you know, 5 tips to, you know, boost your social media, for example, you know what I mean? Something more than just the good tips that we all know and have. Something that, because I truly believe that when you are entrepreneur and you want to really play big, you really need to master the skill of connection with people. And the best way to connect with people is to what? Is to show in front of them and actually speak to them, you know, like on a human level, like connecting with, you know, being vulnerable basically. So this place of like visibility. So you press the button live, and just with the moment you press the live button to go on Facebook and share your story, you know, like I mean, many people with time, you know, it's got, you know, the fear is gone. However, so for so many people, this just stops them because they worry about what other people may think of me right now. Will they think that I would, you know, I am embarrassing, or who am I to even speak to them? My story is not even big enough. Like, you know, go home and cry at home. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what we think other people will think of us. And I've had this kind of problem for quite a long time, especially like in my journey from childhood to, you know, building worth through, you know, fluff, which is like, you know, best qualifications, clothes, fashion, all sort of. It was very fake visibility. So it was building visibility, but not from inside out, not based on from the place of integrity, but from the place of lack of worth, really. And I think, but what is amazing really when it comes to actually allowing yourself to step in front of your audience, whether that's public speaking, whether that's actually, you know, being live on Facebook, which is going just to be like growth, like when you read statistical or like what's going on, you know, with social media going forward, and the actual concept of real live streams, it is only going to be, you know, on a rise. So I think we need to redefine what I'm going to say. We need to redefine what the vulnerability is, okay? But because most people would associate this with weakness, with insecurity, with self-doubt. And although this is valid, I think, because on one hand, this is the place of the core where those, you know, kind of limiting beliefs, you know, kind of show up. But then on the other hand, what we forget, what is the good, like really good side of all of it, which is belonging, connection, which is self-love, self-worth. Because, you know, amongst all of this kind of limiting beliefs that I hear from people, you know, like the fear of rejection, of judgment and stuff, I think there's just, to me, Steve, there's just one and only remedy. purely from my experience. And the remedy for me, it is self-worth, or you can call it self-love, which encompasses self-worth, self-approval, self-validation, right? Self-compassion, empathy, all those things. And I think we just like, we are afraid to be, well, we let other people validate us, or we build our self-image, so the image of who we are supposed to be, based on what other people really say about us, which is nothing else than giving all control to someone else for, you know, your own image, like self-image, you know what I mean? So, which is, I think, is crazy, like as a concept, as a logical person thinking, like looking at a cold eye, that you let absolutely like someone else, everyone, like control your life. Like I used to, you know, when it comes to fashion, for example, my style journey, I used to dress to boost my ego, to receive, you know, compliments. And if I didn't receive compliment, I would think that, oh fuck, I must look shit today or something, you know. Instantly I was thinking that I was feeling bad because, but I was giving all literally control to someone else's on me and my self-image. How bad is that, don't you think?
It's giving you, you're right, and what we're looking for is external validation.
Yeah.
So this external validation comes in the form of likes on Facebook, so they're instant. So what we do is we seek external validation. I don't do that, by the way. And the reason why I don't do that is because I had to look deep within to address my issues. And this is where people get stuck. So every day you'll see me turn up on Facebook or whatever platform it is, in whatever way, whatever it is I'm wearing, whether it's a mess or not. Because I don't care what I look like. I don't give a shit how I turn up. I turn up because my message is clear. I've dealt with everything that I need to deal with. And now I help others to empower themselves. And you are absolutely right when, you know, when you were saying about we care what other people think, and we're all concerned about what they think, because what we're trying to get is that external validation from them to be accepted. When I love what Claire has just put here, you are perfect just the way you are. You are perfect. Every one of us is perfect.
Oh, thanks so much. I didn't scroll and I see some lovely comments. Sorry guys. Sorry, Steve, if you just give me 2 seconds. Claire, so thank you so much for your comments. You just say numbing it. Absolutely, yes. It's a blocker. Oh, it's putting like plaster on it, you know, like.
Yeah, it's true. And
hi,
it's
Johnny.
Amazing. Once you get past all the excuses and once you get past the external validation, you start to see what your issues are. Now, what I needed to do to grow my business, to start my business, to grow my self-worth, to grow my confidence, to be able to help other people, was to understand why I'd gone through addiction, to understand why I'd gone through depression, anxiety, and stress. Now, when I'm like you, I'm very analytical, so I need to understand the reason behind everything.
The sense, everything may have to make sense.
Absolutely, so it needed to make sense. So I'm hugely analytical, so I thought, right, okay, let's look at this in terms of Facebook. Okay, I'm going to give you my top tips to growing your business right here. This is massive, okay? What I did on Facebook was I asked people what they wanted. So I said, guys, what do you want? Whereas a lot of people will go, me. Have a look at this the next time you're on Facebook. People love to talk about themselves. So I asked them about themselves. So one of my clients recently said, I'm struggling to get new clients. I said, okay, what if I could get you 20 new clients within the next half an hour? She said, I think you're lying. I went, okay, let's try it. What do you specialize in? Well, I specialize in mindset. Okay, right, great. Well, what can you help with? Well, I can help somebody overcome anxiety or depression, whatever. Okay, so I want you to pose this question. How many people on my Facebook account suffer with anxiety? And she had something like 100 replies to it. I said, okay, there you go. There it is. So you need to speak to people because you can offer a resolution to that. The instant clients. And she went and then spoke to every single one of them. And people don't understand that, you know what, just asking the right question, believing in yourself, putting yourself out there is so important for your business. Massively. And this is what you and I do every single day. We add value, and we're adding value every single day by what we're doing, because we're overcoming these challenges and we're showing people. People buy into emotion.
Yeah.
So you're offering them something. You're saying this is how it will make you feel. I'm saying this is how it will make you feel as well if you follow this process.
Yeah.
But you've got to be dedicated to that process, because otherwise people will see straight through it. And that's why I turn up every day, showing people what I've had to overcome. So it'd be easy just to say this in a message, but when you show people the reason behind it, people want to back people like this, because everybody loves the underdog, right?
Yeah.
What we do is bring each other up. And this is how to be successful in your business.
But I think what is also important, totally agree, Steve, yeah. We need to understand that we will not be, if you step into arena, if you show up and be visible properly in your business, you know, we need to understand that for every, I don't know, 100 or whatever people who really like us and get us and resonate with us, there will be just the same number of people who would think, what the fuck? We need to, I think we need to understand this, because we cannot assume, that's my opinion, that we will be loved and we will be understood by everyone, however amazing intention we have. Because what we need to effectively do is to completely detach our self-image, which is, like I said, image of what we are expected to be for someone. We need to detach this and just be it, I think someone would say, like a vessel. This is just like, you know, taking the, like
Sorry,
I said,
my signal's really weak. I might have to come back in. Sorry.
no, I can see you. I can see you. Oh, Steve. Yeah, so guys, not sure if Steve will be back, I hope. Oh, Steve, you are back, right? Are you? Hello?
Oh,
can you see me?
still there?
Hello?
Sorry, bear with me one second. Hi, I'm back. I don't know if you can hear me.
No, you are back. Yes, I can see you all the time. I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay, right. Sorry about that. My internet connection went down. I'm back.
Yeah. So, yeah, what I was saying, that we need to, again, detach ourselves from the expectation. I think the only thing we need to expect, and we have to expect, is just, or put, the only expectation we should put on ourselves is expectations that we just should show up as us, just like as you. Just I don't know, but for me it is like I said, for me it is self-worth is the power. It's just like absolutely everything. This kind of self-approval. I definitely remember times when I was like doing my first videos, and when I asked one person at the time, like, but how am I supposed to, you know, show up? Like, you know, this kind of, because I've never done this before. So
how am I supposed to be?
Yes, exactly. And what I had, one very special person in my life, actually, he said, be yourself. And I, for the first time, I kind of, when I heard this, I felt some sort of sense of relief, very warm, fuzzy feeling, like, you know, like, be yourself. But I didn't know at the time what it actually exactly means, but it sounds good, because when you think about this, I would be actually giving a talk quite soon in July about, and I actually titled this, The Science of Being You, and what it takes to find the self-worth and embrace who you are. Because I think this is huge. Like, what does it mean to be yourself? Because we throughout our lives, we've been conditioned so much. We have been very often running the story that most likely happened in our childhood, make us believe that, oh, we are maybe not worthy, or we don't deserve to win, like my story, for example. And we live through having this story, and then we just actually forget completely, or we just don't know who we are. What does it mean to be me? Because we all knew we had this once. And you know what I'm thinking about. We knew we had this once. We once were, if I ask you, Steve, actually, if I ask you, what does it mean to you to be you? What is being you, or how does it feel to be you? You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
That's a really, really good question. Yeah. So for years, I'd done exactly what you were saying. I was conditioned by society. So all that was happening was I had to conform to somebody else's rules.
Yeah.
So I was literally indoctrinated into a system based on fear. And that system was, right, I've got to get a house, I've got to get a car, I've got to get a 9 till 5 job, I've got to do this, I've got to go to college,
yeah.
I've got to go to university, I've got to have 2.5 children, my life has got to be perfect. That is not being you. That is somebody else's life. That's this perfect life that doesn't exist. So I lost who I was. For years, I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know how to show up. So when you talk to people and you say, well, just be you, people are going, well, who am I? How do I find being me? And it was at the point where I lost everything, that I found who I was, that I started to find my purpose, the reason why I was doing what I was doing, finding my reason why, and finding what I was good at, finding what I was passionate at. And that drove to my self-worth. Because I found something I was passionate about,
right.
I started to find out who I was, starting to find the real me deep within, going, oh my God, you enjoy this. You're empathetic, you're sympathetic, you've got a heart, you're so caring, you're a beautiful person, you're a male, you're empowering, you are finding your power, you're stepping into you.
Yes.
Our power. Absolutely. And when you find that, that day changes the rest of your life. And you turn up. And it doesn't matter how you turn up, because you don't care what other people think. It doesn't matter, because every single person, I love what you said earlier, every single person in life, is going to suffer with a trauma, whether it's losing a pencil or a loved one. Okay? Everybody will deal with some type of trauma. It's how you deal with it. And then secondly it's how you shape things after that. Okay? So it was, for me, dealing with that trauma led me to realize that I was this beautiful, empathetic.
Just want to say, Claire, thank you so much for your likes. Thank you, lovely. It's awesome what you are saying.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, lovely, so much.
Then I had to find out what self-worth meant, because I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know what is your why. When somebody said to me previously, Steve, what's your why? What's why? I didn't understand what.
Yeah.
So you imagine not knowing what your purpose in life was. Now, many people get stuck with this point and they go, well, what is my purpose? Your purpose is what you feel so passionate about that you wake up every morning that you say, yes, I'm about to do this because.
Yeah.
So for me, my why was because I went through this breakdown and thought, I've got this now ability and this amazing power to help other people through showing them you can go from almost a near-the-death experience, which I've had, to empowering myself to create this massive group with 10,700 people in it, over another 10,000 on Twitter, and it's people, okay, it's followers, but it's then those people that have bought into that emotion, because I'm starting to really find me. Because I'm finding me and helped myself, I can help so many more people. And I've found beauty in not just me, but in people like you that are doing the same thing. You are really stepping into your power right now. You are more powerful than what you ever will imagine.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, and you know what? For me, like you were talking about your why and your zone of genius, which is effectively, basically, for me, this zone of genius, or what I am like so passionate about, is what make this massive change in my life, this breakthrough. And for me, it was discovering something that I've been chasing for all my life, like 30 years, which was chasing self-worth. Because from the very early memory, what I had in a childhood, what was so traumatic, was I'm not enough, I am not worthy, I don't deserve actually to win in life. That was my belief. So even if I try so hard to prove that I can, this limiting belief was stronger, because, you know, when you believe in something, then your actions kind of follow from it. whatever you try to do, if you subconsciously believe that you cannot be a winner in life, you actually cannot succeed, your actions and everything will just almost like confirmation bias. It will just literally confirm this belief. And that's very bad, because we need to realize that we need to really seriously change it. And like for me, and something that can be a good tip for any entrepreneur who know that there is this limiting belief of I am not enough to show up. My story is not good enough. I am not worthy to be in front of people. Who am I to be, and stuff like this. I think the most important, like that's just my experience, what transformed me, is that I consciously make this decision to really revisit this kind of traumatic experience, because that's the place where all those limiting beliefs are really born. We need to realize that any sort of superficial, like kind of, sometimes just thinking is just not going to really help. I think it is like comparing that you can just cut the top of the plant or something, but actually you need to take it with the roots. So you need to just go back. And I think what I found very powerful, which you guys can do, but that's very deep work, that I mean, like that's emotional for me, very transformational task was to write a letter to my inner child, to the child that was so hurt in the childhood, who carried this false belief. And I needed to apologize to myself, because, it is me who interpreted what, let's say, my mom said to me, no one else. It is me who interpreted this. So I needed to apologize to myself for being led, for buying into a certain belief that was no one's fault. And also very important thing is to change the meaning of the story. So many of us would think that, oh my god, like I remember I used to say when I was working in 9-5 job, I used to be this like very bitchy person. So I would like, why me? Why my life is like this? I was like that. I was such a grumpy, horrible. Seriously, I remember that. And I knew it. I knew I didn't like that person. But what is important that you change the meaning, which is, well, all the stuff that actually happened to my life, and even the fact what I had from my parents and how they make me feel, how they compared me, well, all the stuff. This actually is something that helped me. Without this, I wouldn't discover this drive, this passion. So actually, it is thinking about whatever happened in your life, you are able to share it on the forum in front of your audience, and and I think very often people are afraid that they will start crying, and they think that this is so bad, like, oh, I don't want to share my personal story because I get so emotional. That's what people very often, that's what hold them back. But I think it is just when you allow yourself to change the meaning, rather than, because you are not the victim of your story, you are the hero of your story. You are not the villain anymore. You are really the hero. So I think if we just take this ownership, then we can share those those memories with pride and with confidence, just like as you did. And that's where the power is. But everything starts deep back.
That's very true, and it is. You have to address those issues. So I've gone through neuro-linguistic programming. I've gone through timeline therapy.
Me too. I am such an advocate. NLP, guys, NLP. I went through 3 months of NLP coaching, which was the pivotal moment for me, because I discovered that I have empathy for people. Like so.
Yeah. And it's interesting because with those is we go back in time. So for me, it was, I had to go back to when I was a child, that inner child, exactly the same as yourself. I had to go back to that specific emotional event, and several things I had to realize was, one, I was never in control of the situation that shaped me. Yeah, I was a product of the circumstance. So I had to forgive the person. One, I had to forgive my father and my mother, because I didn't understand what they were going through at the time.
Right.
So this is how you change the story. So at the beginning, I thought, you know what? Why me? Why me? Why is it picking on me? When in fact it wasn't, because my parents were doing the best that they could do with what they had at the time. So I had to turn around and say, I've spoken to my father recently, and I had to say to him, I phoned him up after 30 years and said, Dad, please forgive me. said, son, what do you mean? I said, please forgive me for not understanding you. Please forgive me for not understanding what you were going through at the time. Please let me know what you were going through. And that was a breakthrough. So for me and my father, we reconnected. He understands me, I understand him, and it came from a place of love. But we had to change the story. I had to change my mindset. My mindset was set to negativity. When I had that nervous breakdown, I had to hit the reset button and I had to reprogram myself. And this was the point that is now shaping the rest of my life now going forwards, which is I feed everything into it. So I stay away from the negative. However, I need a little bit of negative in my life so it shows me what is good and what's bad. But now every morning I say, not only do I say my affirmations first thing in the morning, I say what I'm grateful for. Even the little things like waking up, the little things like my mother and father bringing me into this world. I had to change my entire mindset and change those beliefs that I was not good enough, like yourself, to every morning, every day saying, repeating, I am good enough, I am loved. Because it's true, each and every one of us are, but every one of us is going through our own issues. So what people don't like to discuss is what these issues are. So because they can't deal with their issues like you and I have done, we come across now how we come across. This is us. This is me. This is you. That's the raw, real you. This is the raw, real me. There's nothing else. Because we've dealt with all our issues. So we come on Facebook Live and we could talk about our trauma. We could talk about my drug addiction. We could talk about me being depressed or anxious. Why? Because we've changed the story. We've changed the story. That story of depression, the world owes me a favor, I'm the victim, to go into the hero. Because we aren't victims. And it's all in your head. All in your head. Oh, I'm the victim, poor me. When in fact it isn't. You're not the victim. You're the victim if you choose to stay there. Stop staying there.
Yeah, and I think absolutely. And when it comes to this, in my case, mother-daughter relation, that's very special bond. And I also recently, my relationship with mom was always really good, but deep down I was blaming her, I must say, for what actually happened or what I heard from her, and then because she was like this toward me, then I had to suffer. It was this type of blaming, very kind of disempowering, really. And so once I overcame everything and stuff, I was actually, for a very first time in my life, which was huge after the NLP coaching, I was actually able to tell my mom that I love her, which was very big. For me, it was like transformational. Yeah, it was like, oh my God, I can actually do it. So very special. And then even recently I actually wrote her an email about I think for the very first time, but with confidence and with actually saying her, thank you so much. And I told her about something that she didn't even realize, and that's amazing, that our parents very often, they don't even realize that we could take things this way. So what she said to me at the earliest stage of my life, in childhood, and what I interpreted so that I felt unworthy, it was actually something that it was just my story. And so that in the end, I actually tell her that, thank you, because actually without you, my battery is running, but yeah, without you, I really wouldn't discover this transformation, the actually breaking through and finding the worth. How huge is that? Because only from that point, I can really help other people understand and master the mindset, which is the key to everything. It is 80% of success in business. For me, no, without words, so yeah. But also when it comes to limiting beliefs, just so I can probably we can just wrap up slowly. I don't want to switch off in a minute with my phone, but is to see limiting beliefs, okay, before you go into arena, is to see limiting belief with a very cold eye, okay? So it's like thinking, if you couldn't fail, the question, guys, you can ask yourself today before you go to sleep, okay? If I couldn't fail, okay, if I knew I couldn't fail, what can I do? Would I go for you know, those opportunities? Would I grab, would I approach some influencers to show up, to create some, you know, online summits or public speaking or whatever? Would I actually do it if I knew that there was no fear? You know what I mean? And I think that's something that, or like whatever you would do, what would you do basically? Let's play open cards. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Okay, and then second step is, so once you write down on the paper all sorts of ideas, like, oh, what can I do? Like, I absolutely will not fail. I literally will rock. And then next thing what you can do is, so what was it? So next thing what you can do is, and I forgot. God damn it! What I wanted to say. It happens to me. I just get the blank.
Right.
Yes, I know now. I know now.
Continue with this.
It's to find the proof.
There's no such thing.
Do you?
There's no such thing as fail.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as fail.
Yeah.
No, it's an education. So you will not fail if you don't want it to fail. Now, I quit my job, my 9 till 5 job, in corporate job.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago now. It's 4 weeks ago, and I handed them the car keys back, and I said, you know what, I'm going to start my own business, and I've earned more money in 4 weeks than what I earned in 6 months with them. And it was having that confidence to turn around and say, you know what, I don't need your job. I'm going to create a life by design, and I said I will not make it fail, because a fail is only an education, and that's having that positive mindset. If you do not put 100% action, you have to action everything. Action is the key. You could read a book about motivation. You could read a book about inspiration. It means nothing unless you step out, get onto Facebook, show up, be you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and I think that's great. Really like to end with this on this note, because yes, action is something that I think it is like so important, because only when you actually press the button, go live, for example, and actually then watch yourself back, that's the most like the most interesting experience ever.
I never watch myself back.
Because yes, you are not looking back. And I think what is amazing is that if you show up consistently every day in front of your audience, it is impossible to show up as not you. You just have to show up. In the end, you just like find out who you are and what it means to be yourself, because this consistency and the fact that you are in a really time out there just will make you tap into who you are, if that makes sense. So if you want to evolve and you actually really want to discover who you are, like show up every day. And like I said, don't worry about, like, don't put all your value for the amazing person you are in the hands of other people. Don't put your value in the hands of other people. I need to repeat this, like, absolutely, like never ever. Know your worth, build this, and show up. Just do this action, like you Steve said, and you just will grow like this. It was just like shoot up. Seriously.
Absolutely agree. And it's that first step is the most frightening, but it's that first step that will take you into unbelievable places.
Yeah.
The universe has got you. The universe has got you. Believe me, it will not let you down.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Just love yourself. That's the best thing you can give to you. So whenever you watch yourself back, when you start doing those lives, watch yourself and think only in a very like loving way about you. You think, oh my God, thank you so much, my dear, for showing up. You are lovely, and you know, I'm so proud of you that you are actually doing it. You are already distinguishing yourself from masses. You have your message. You are brave and courageous because you put yourself in front of people. You let yourself be vulnerable, which is the most beautiful place of growth, to be vulnerable. And visibility is nothing else than the ability to be vulnerable. This is the place where absolutely the place of self-worth, self-love, and actually belonging. Because I think I would take it even to the next level, that you start to feel that you have sense of belonging, that you really, on the transcendent level, that you bring something that is just above you. You connect on a much higher level. So you don't just even show up just to, you know, help people. It is even more. It is connecting with, I would say, connecting with source, wherever it is. But for me, this connection with source is this connection that I felt I had as a child. I literally feel that we do the circle. We, throughout our life, we seek the exactly same connection with source we had as a child. We lost it, and throughout our life, we want to become, and we want to become again the person we were. I like, that's my kind of philosophy almost. That's what I see.
No, I love it.
You know,
it's a great philosophy, and you're absolutely right. All we are searching for is to connect back with source energy, which is the highest vibration, which is love. So all we are doing is searching for love. Each and every one of us. We are all an external physical extension of source energy. Each and every one of us. And when you understand that, when you truly understand that we're all just physical extension of source energy, you realize how far you can push that vibration. And when you can say that on a Facebook Live, you know that you're going.
So Steve, thank you so much. Tell us where we can find you. You have amazing tribe of what? Of over 10,000 members, Mind Canyon. Can you just like say what's the page and who are your members? Like, who can join this?
Absolutely. Well, anybody can join it. And what I actively ask people to do is to get more people to join after them. So if you're taking value from this, look at Mind Canyon Positive Mental Health. So I put the positive in there because we are keeping this 100% positive. We motivate, we inspire, we give people confidence. We give them the ability to go out and change other people's lives. I say we because it is a group thing. It is a group where we inspire, we tell people, get involved. But also what I do, I've got my own coaching page, Steve Carr Confidence Coaching, and I help people find their why, their purpose, and give them the confidence within their life that they've been looking for.
Oh, fantastic. Steve, thank you so much for joining me. Such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. Absolutely. I feel the kind of energy flow. I just quickly scroll down just to see if guys have any questions. Guys, basically, thank you so much for joining. Laura Barnett, Karen Cook, like Adrian, Claire. Let's see. It's our nature. Laura Barnett said, it's our nature to help others learn from our mistakes. Not everyone will listen, but might take a little of it on board. Yeah, always. I think you would agree. It's just like when you share a story in front of your audience, one person can really resonate, and the just person who is just, you know, the other person basically can just like, well, I can't, you know, and that's fine, because it's not about, like I said, pleasing everyone. It's just about just putting this energy out, and the right people will, you know, resonate, catch your frequency, like in the radio. You have this they will just catch, they will like turn this, you know, and oh, that's my and they tune into your song, you know what I mean? So
and you can only sing that song to the right people. And I had to, here's another great tip as well. It took me ages to realize that I fit in with the right people, because I always felt that I didn't fit in. I don't know if you got that.
Yes.
I always felt that I didn't fit in.
I was such a misfit in 9-5 job. Oh my God, I felt like alien.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? That's why I go back to Claire's point. We're all perfect in our own way. We'll all sing our song. And when we find that right tribe, we're all singing the same song.
Yeah, I think the environment is extremely important.
Yes.
It's extremely important. And I must say that it is so important that if I spend most of my time with the right people that boost me and stuff, and then it takes me one conversation with someone who is very skeptical and very like questioning everything I do or something, it can make this energy drop, and I instantly, just to protect myself, I need to put myself again in the environment of people that I know they get me, and that's so important, because
massive with connection.
Yeah.
So I found that over the last couple of days that there will be people not on the same frequency and think, what planet are you on? We get that.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is protect ourselves. So what I tend to do is I say, well, they're outwardly projecting their image onto me. So life is about perception and projection. People will outwardly project their issues onto you. So they'll question you because they're questioning themselves. So what I tend to do is say, thank you very much for your opinion. That's really interesting. However, That's your opinion, that's your projection, that's your perception. Fantastic, thank you. Have a great day. That's as far as it goes. So I set my boundaries. I do not step into theirs, and I won't let them step into mine either. And that will make all the difference in business, because you know what? It's about recognizing those boundaries. Your self-worth is a lot higher than other people's, because they don't realize their self-worth. They don't even realize, some people, that they're unhappy. So I have to respect them. I have to say, thank you for your opinion. Thank you for your perception. Thank you for your perception.
I have just a quick question to you, Steve, because I could talk and talk to you. Like,
yes, likewise.
But something that something that I really wanted to ask you. So with showing up, you know, consistently for your audience with this good intention, with, you know, helping people change their lives. What would you say about boundaries around this? Would you say that there might be too much of you out there or not? You know what I mean? In terms of, what do you think about this?
Sorry.
About boundaries around showing up.
Boundaries. Don't set any boundaries. Just go for it. Just really go for it. And the only boundary, because if you start to set yourself boundaries by stepping out there and going out there, you'll restrict yourself. So what I tend to do is just show up when I'm ready. So I don't set a time. I don't set a specific time that I need to be out there. If I think, I know I'm going to go with this, I'll just put it out there. So you know what? If it scares you, just go with it. Go how you're instinctively feeling. Listen to your instincts. Your instinct is 99% right. Go with it. Just go with it. So I'll put Facebook Lives out at the most obscure hours, and I'll say, I'm going live in 10 minutes, guys. You don't want to miss this. And people get into that because I'm just being me. It could be at any time of the day. Go out, step out, show up every single day. If you want to be successful,
I agree.
You need to show up and show people what you are doing different.
Absolutely. And you know, guys, it takes like 30 days. Literally, Facebook Live every day. It just feels like a muscle, a natural Facebook muscle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Steve, thank you so much again. Thank you so much, guys. Check Mind Canyon. Check. What's your website? SteveCarr.net. SteveCarr.net. Check some like amazing, you know, articles and stuff, and great stuff. So definitely you will find lots of value. So yes, thank you again so much, and yes, have a great rest of the evening, and we'll probably catch up soon. And guys, thank you so much for watching, everyone, for listening, for your comments. We really appreciate this. That's what it's all about. We hope that you get some awesome value from it, and something to feed your thoughts, okay? And change your lives and show up. That's what we want. Okay, thanks guys. Take care, Steve. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.